The following is a presentation of the Broadband Universe, brought to you in part by Vitruvi, the end-to-end GIS-based construction management platform that connects asset owners, operators, general contractors, and subcontractors for unmatched project control and collaboration. Manage every aspect of your telecommunications or utility infrastructure construction program with Vitruvi. Build faster, reduce costs, improve quality. Book your demo today on vitruvisoftware.com to see how we can help you build at scale. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Broadband Universe podcast. I'm Craig Corbin, and it is certainly a pleasure to welcome today's guest, Todd Schlekeway, President and CEO of NATE, the Communications Infrastructure Contractors Association. Todd, welcome to the Broadband Universe.
It's a pleasure to be your guest today, Craig. I've heard a lot about the Broadband Universe podcast, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Absolutely. Had a chance to get to know a little bit about NATE, the organization. This most recent Fiber Connect, members of your team were there doing a phenomenal job on the expo floor. And one of the parts of our conversation that we're going to have a bit later on today deals with the movie poster over your shoulder that is going to be something that I'm really looking forward to. And it was a big part of my introduction to the organization. But for those that are not familiar with the Communications Infrastructure Contractors Association, or NATE, give us the 30,000-foot overview, if you would.
You bet, Craig. So NATE was founded in 1995, so we're 27 years old as a trade association. We have today approximately 1,160 member companies. So we have member companies in all 50 U.S. states, and then we have members in 9 other countries. So we have a great story to tell. Our primary membership category are those principal contractor firms, Craig, that build, deploy, and maintain communications infrastructure. And that's everything from cell towers to broadcast towers to 5G small cell towers and the fiber deployments, in-building wireless. So what I like to say is if there's an antenna somewhere or if you're experiencing connectivity, there's a better than even chance that a NATE member was involved in enabling that connectivity.
You know, that is phenomenal. When you talk about the number of companies back in 95, 60, that got this off the ground, and then where you've grown to date, it's phenomenal. And, of course, very impressed looking at the mission statement for the organization. And you've got 5 primary bullet points that are part of that that are so important. And, you know, for many in the communications industry, I think we take for granted the men and women that are so involved in the infrastructure from a tower perspective. Talk about that, if you would.
Yeah, and we're very proud of our mission, and it's our core tenet, and that first and foremost is safety, Craig. I mean, as you can imagine, the men and women who enable this connectivity are more often than not working at elevation, and so safety is paramount. It's essential. It's our number one core value within NATE, and it really drives everything we do. We facilitate a lot of training opportunities for the industry. We develop standards for the industry. We have best practice resources for workers in the industry, and it really drives everything we do. And we're proud of that, and it's one of the reasons we've been able to grow, very consistently through the years, is because people believe in that mission that we bring to the marketplace.
When you look at the need for all of those things that are part of the mission statement, and obviously the education, the safety, all the aspects that come together. My guess is that meant a sea change within your industry from the standpoint of what might have been considered sort of the Wild West in the old days to what it is considered now. Talk about that, if you would.
Yeah, and we're very proud of those advancements, Craig. I've heard the industry back in the day characterized more than a few times as the Wild West. So you know, we've really evolved as an industry from the old lineman's belts. You know, you had telecom technicians working with lineman belts. So now we have state of the art harnesses, PPE gear, elaborate training facilities, and we've come a long way. And Nate has made that happen. I mean, Nate has been instrumental in creating a safer environment around communications infrastructure deployment, but also creating a more professional and skilled employee and technician. You know, we've helped driven those sea changes that you referred to, and workforce development. We can get into that a little bit, but you know, that's right under safety as another value, and you know, we want to continue to drive and tell the story that look, technicians, there's a career pathway there, and these are professional men and women. The work continues to get more and more technical, Craig, and it's really amazing what they do.
It was very impressive when we talk about the education, the training that goes along, and spending some time on the NATE website. Obviously, the use of video is a big part of that training, that education. Talk about how that has evolved within the association.
Yeah, well, one thing we recognized just amongst our membership, and really, if you do some demographic analysis of the workers in our industry, we have a younger workforce, Craig, as you can imagine, who can handle the rigors of the job, of the climbing, of the elevation, of the travel, you know, across state lines. So, how best do you appeal and get your message across to a younger demographic? And that is through the use of videos, through the use of innovative social media campaigns. And one I'd like to mention, we developed a Climber Connection video series. We've done 5 volumes of them. They're all topically based on industry training and safety topics. Okay. And they've really been successful in getting our messaging out to that younger demographic, of which a majority of the workforce is in that age demographic, who is more likely to view our content through video and social media than they are reading something off our website or a best practice document that's emailed out.
Yeah, when you talk about putting best practices in place, obviously setting standards, industry-wide standards, is a big part of success with what your long-term goals are. Talk about how that has come about, the genesis of setting those benchmarks.
Yeah, and one thing Nate is really blessed to have is we have so many subject matter experts at our disposal within the association. These men and women are the top of the line, and they contribute thousands and thousands of hours of volunteer time to develop these consensus standards. And the one I'd like to mention, Craig, is that we had a committee that developed the ANSI ASSP A1048 standard. And that really is the first of its kind standard that encompasses everything from starting to build a tower to tower demolition and everything in between. And so that is basically the Bible, the playbook for our industry. And you know who drove that? Nate member company subject matter experts.
That is awesome. You know, one of the things that impressed me just from a metric standpoint, looking at the number of potential issues that your member organizations were able to discover prior to construction going full bore, based on just what you've talked about, and having those standards in place, and the precautions that come along with that. Proactive is so much better than reactive.
Yes, and we have programs within NATE that have gained popularity to be proactive. To your point, I mean, we have a STAR initiative program where companies do voluntary site safety audits before work commences on that site on that particular day. And so what we do then is we're able to get their data quarterly, and we're able to extrapolate, here are the deficiencies, here are the top deficiencies the industry needs to work on. And then we're able to follow that up with, well, let's apply for our federal training grant on that topic for this year, because we're seeing the most deficiencies on rigging, for example, or on electrical hazards. So it's really a good program, the STAR initiative, that speaks to enabling and basically motivating these companies to be proactive on site. Let's get rid of those deficiencies before the work commences.
Love the concept. You're watching the Broadband Universe podcast, brought to you in part by Lit Communities. Light up your community. You deserve better internet. By Vetro Fiber Map, radically simpler fiber management. By OnTrack, proven leader in connectivity. And by Vitruvi, build faster, reduce costs, improve quality. And my guest today, Todd Schlekeway, President and CEO of NATE, the Communications Infrastructure Contractors Association. And made mention of it earlier when we began the conversation, the movie poster that's over your shoulder in the background. And vertical freedom is something that really caught my eye when I had a chance to visit with members of the NATE team at Fiber Connect. Got to see the trailer for what is a full-length film about the industry. And before we talk about it any further, let's give our viewers a preview with this trailer.
I'd say 90% of people don't like heights, don't like getting on a ladder, can't get on a roof of a house. And I'm the guy raising my hand. Can I go next?
The climb, man, when you get up there, you get a heavenly moment.
I embrace the adventure, but with the height comes a lot more challenges, because a lot can really go wrong if you're not paying attention.
Don't ever get comfortable. Everyone has to be on point.
One slip, one trip, that's it. That's all she wrote.
If it weren't even a little bit hazardous, there wouldn't be anything fun about it.
I'm not in an office, in a cubicle, behind a computer screen. There's no way I could do that.
I don't want my kids to grow up like me without a dad. I want to be their hero. I want to be the person they look up to and say, that's my dad.
How you fall, but how do you push through the darkness and go back into the light?
Being a tower climber was a great part of my life.
It's brought me up in life, and I believe that you should always reach down and pick someone else up.
I think what we have in common is the tower, and we all climb.
How far is it going to take me? I'm excited to see.
If we don't have these towers up, there's no signal and there's no connection with each other. What I get to do is definitely beyond. I'm performing my job for the world.
And Todd, every time that I see that trailer, it moves me. And I'm telling you, I cannot wait for November the 1st when the premiere comes of that. And we'll talk about some specifics. But before we do that, I want to know how the concept for doing a full documentary film that is focused on your industry came about. What was the genesis?
Great question, Craig, and I've received that question a lot, and really a great deal of acknowledgement and credit should go to the NATE Board of Directors. We as an organization wanted to do something big and bold, Craig, when it came to, we're like a lot of the trades out there, workforce shortages is a big challenge in the industry for these small business contractor firms. So we wanted to do something big and bold, and that, I don't know what more we could do to get our message out to the mainstream. Like, this is a cool, viable career pathway for men and women who might be the right fit for that. And so we started, and we invested heavily. We retained a movie production company called Storybuilt Media. We had casting calls consisting of NATE member tower techs, and so it was the entire process that the movie production company was embedded with these tower crews and the featured tower techs on the road with them at sites, in and out of hotels, restaurants, and it truly is a remarkable film because it Vertical Freedom kind of plays on the freedom that this career has given the 6 individuals featured. And both, obviously it's a play on the work that's done at Elevation, but it's the storylines in the film are quite remarkable. And, it's been without a doubt one of the most exciting projects I've ever done in my lifetime as an executive producer of the movie.
No doubt. It is considered to be an epic feature-length documentary film highlighting the professional and personal lives of, as you mentioned, the 6 folks that were in there. Give a shout-out to those folks. Andrew Leo Luffy from Las Vegas. And I think he's also in there with 5 others. But his remark at the very end of that trailer, I thought, really hit home. I'm performing my job for the world.
Yeah.
And that spoke volumes because everything that each of these people do in the world of communications is so incredibly vital.
Yeah, and it's each featured technician has their own storyline. They overcame adversity at some point in their career. It really highlights the diversity of the workforce, the type of work. They all do something a little different in the industry. But the common theme is they have thrived in this industry. They've risen above, and they are successfully on a career. This isn't a job for these 6 individuals. This is a career, and they can't imagine what they do without the industry. And
it's interesting on the film's website. Each of the 6 have listed their hometowns. And then a description, I'm assuming a personal description of themselves. Andrew, who's from Las Vegas, listed father and spiritual. Key from Dallas, Texas, mountain biker and active. Angelo Wiggins, Des Moines, Iowa. I loved it. It's just fun, silly, and a singer at 300 feet. And I can appreciate that. Sean Galuli, Miami, Florida, surfer, no fear, very appropriate. Kelsey Olson from Denver considers herself a nerd and an engineer. And then Robert Gallegos from Albuquerque, a mentor, guide, and teacher. And what powerful descriptions all 6 have used to describe themselves. And I cannot wait to see this when it is made available for full release on November 1st. By the way, congratulations are in order. Vertical Freedom has been named a semifinalist in the International Film Festival. That is phenomenal. What was it like when you got that news?
Yeah, it's just been a new experience for all of us, Craig. I mean, we're rolling with everyone else on this, but yeah. So we've been acknowledged that the film was named a semifinalist at the Flickers Rhode Island International Film Festival. It's also been selected for a screening at the New Hampshire Film Festival and the Boston, Massachusetts Film Festival. And there's more that we're waiting on. So those type of accolades and showings just serve to continue to build momentum for our ultimate goal, and that's the more eyeballs on this movie, Craig, the better for the industry, the better for Nate, and really the better that the common citizen understands and doesn't take for granted that, you know what, it's not just pixie dust that operates these. There's real skilled technicians behind our connectivity
that they understand and appreciate. More importantly, and I think that to your point, from the standpoint of being able to share the story of Nate, the association, and the people who make up the association. But from my standpoint, this film is moving. It is you've got redemption stories, you've got inspiration. It's an inspirational story, and extremely well done. And again, I'm just basing that on conversations that I've had, seeing the trailer. And I know that that will only be expounded upon when I see the full-length version on that. For those who want to see Vertical Freedom, I know it's available on many different platforms in the video-on-demand world. Give us the options that are out there.
Yeah, thank you for asking, Craig. So beginning November 1st, the movie Vertical Freedom will be available on many of the prominent video-on-demand platforms. Platforms like iTunes, Apple TV, YouTube TV movies, Amazon, Vudu, just to name a few. And you can just search the film Vertical Freedom, and it'll pop up, and you can rent or purchase the film. And then right now, actually, it's available on iTunes for pre-order, so you can actually order it right now on iTunes and be among the first to see it when it launches November 1st. So we're promoting that right now as well. But ultimately, our goal, we sold the rights to the film. After this video-on-demand window, the company, the distribution company who sold it to, Craig, thinks it has a very viable chance to get it on one of the prominent streaming platforms. And that's kind of our end game goal. You know, you start with the video-on-demand window, build some momentum with film festivals on that circuit, and then if you can get it on one of the streaming platforms where it lives for a long time, you know, now all of a sudden we're checking a lot of boxes in terms of our ultimate end game, and that's success is the more eyeballs that see this in mainstream America, the better, Craig.
I have a very good feeling about your achieving the success in that regard that you just talked about, because I think there's going to be so much positive momentum with this once it gets off the ground, no pun intended. As we begin to wind up the conversation, always like to ask our guests on the Broadband Universe sort of the crystal ball question. And we have seen phenomenal growth within your organization since its inception in 1995. What do you see going forward, 5, 10 years or more down the road?
Great question, Craig. It's one that I ask a lot when I moderate panels as well in the industry. You know, from a NATE perspective, I think I see NATE continuing to evolve. We've done a good job evolving, whether it be, you know, PPE advancements, adapting to the use of more technology for, you know, field-based audits, using unmanned aerial systems and drones for more work to make the work safer and more efficient. You know, our members are doing that now. NATE has committees in those areas, but I see us continuing to evolve as an organization and stay on the cutting edge and be proactive when it comes to, you know, let's close the gap on some of the workforce shortages, and we'll do that, you know, with the help of the movie. But we also need to continue to adapt and follow the lead of our members in terms of where are they headed as a company, what technologies are they using, how can NATE come alongside them. And so we've done a good job of that to date, but you can't stay complacent in this industry. It's rapidly changing, and you know that, you know, very well, Craig.
No question about it. And we are in such an important era in the communications world with phenomenal growth coming in the next 5, 10 years, and such a huge role to be played by the men and women who are part of the Communications Infrastructure Contractors Association. So glad to learn just a bit about what's going on at NATE and your team and all the member companies who make up the organization. Cannot wait for Vertical Freedom to be released. I also look forward to being able to visit with you down the road to have another opportunity to see how that is developing. But Todd, greatly appreciate your time and learning more about NATE today.
Thank you, Craig. I really appreciate you giving us this platform on Broadband Universe, and look forward to staying in touch with you moving forward.
Absolutely. On behalf of Todd, thanks for letting us be a part of your day. We'll see you next time right here on the Broadband Universe. So long, everyone.